Welcome to Norway, a country in the northern part of Europe, a place known for its fjords, mountains, and great natural beauty, but also the country of Vikings, trolls, and horses. Welcome to Oslo, the capital of Norway. You might not think living in the city is compatible with being an equestrian, but you'd be surprised. Oslo has lots of horses. For example, we have the nation's only ridden police. The location of Oslo means everything is very close, and we have a lot of opportunities. The three big international horse shows in Norway are located within 1 hour drive from the city centre. The School of Veterinary Medicine and its animal hospital used to be located here, but has now moved location just south of the city. But we still have Bjerke Animal Hospital within the city, and next to the hospital is the trotting harness racing arena. There is also Norway's only gallop thoroughbred racetrack just outside the city borders to the west. The area around Oslo and the surrounding county has a lot of cross-country venues as well. The Norwegian Riders Association has its offices in the capital, and there are about 50 riding clubs in Oslo and the surrounding municipalities. If you want to learn to ride, there are approximately 8 riding schools in the city and more in the surrounding municipalities. If you want to own your own horse, there are plenty of barns, from large equestrian centres to small stables. Oslo is a city, but approximately half its area is covered in woodland, so there is plenty of hacking here. The woods are protected, so there are laws against building new houses or roads within their limits. They are considered a resource for the city's inhabitants to give them opportunities to exercise and roam, benefiting both physical and mental health. So being an equestrian in Oslo means you have access to a lot of opportunities and activities. The downside to being an equestrian in Oslo or the surrounding area is the cost. Everything is extremely expensive, and stabling a horse can cost as much as 10,000 Norwegian kroner, which is approximately 1,000 euros, pounds, US dollars, depending on the exchange rate. We also have to share our hacking with the people of Oslo, and in the winter they prefer skiing, which means we have very few places to ride because it is against the law to ride in the prepared ski tracks. I've lived in Oslo and the surrounding areas for most of my life, except for the 3 years I lived in Wales, and I don't want to live anywhere else, but it makes owning a horse close to impossible. However, there are some cheaper alternatives, so fingers crossed I can keep a horse at one of those places in the future. Vestlandet, the west coast of Norway. If you have seen any photos from Norway, it might be from the west coast. It is an extremely popular tourist destination with its deep fjords and steep mountainsides. It is stunningly beautiful, but what is it like to own horses here? Liv Jorunn says. You need to enjoy spending time in your car, especially if you want to go to competitions. There are long distances between the showgrounds, and because of the fjords and the mountains, it takes a long time to get from one place to another. You have to take a lot of ferries to get across fjords and from island to island. If I want to go to a larger horse show, it takes me 7 to 8 hours to get to Trondheim and 5.5 to 6 hours to get to Bergen. It is actually more time efficient to drive over the mountains to the east side of the country. Editor's note: but during the winter it isn't advisable to cross the mountains with horses unless absolutely necessary. There can be so much snow and bad weather that you can get stuck because they cannot clear the roads fast enough. Liv Jorunn says, you also need to be weatherproof in the sense that you will get wet. It rains a lot on the west coast. There can be quite a distance to an indoor school, but there are a lot of good equestrian centres and we have a lot of horse shows. It just takes time to get there. But it is great to have horses on the west coast. We have varied terrain for hacking, lots of good instructors and good veterinarians that do ambulatory service, since the closest clinics are in Bergen and Trondheim, so up to 8 hours away.
My name is Maidel, and I'm from a very small place in the northern part of Norway. It's called Equestrian. I've been living here my whole life. I grew up on this farm, my dad's sheep farm. I don't live here anymore, but my horses are here, so I'm pretty much here every day. Like during the summer, it's amazing. We have a sign for 24 hours, and you can go midnight hiking and riding. And that's actually a unique experience. But during the winters are long. I actually have the winter shoes on my horses for a longer time than the summer shoes. And the winter shoes are actually regular shoes, but you have spikes on them, so it's able to ride on snow and ice. So this is like a typical winter shoe with the spikes here. During winter, we do a lot of riding in the snow and ice, and it's uncomplicated as long as I have rubber shoes. I think the main issue is it's very cold, so I don't know, the motivation can be pretty bad sometimes. Because from November to January we usually have very bad weather. It switches between snow and rain like every second day, and we also have dark period when it's dark for 24 hours. So we don't actually have sun for 2 months. So that's actually the worst part of having horses here, especially when we don't have like an indoor place to ride. Up in north, it's like Norway is not like a big country, but it's a long country. And most people live south. So in north, have like a big distance where no one lives. So if you want to enter a competition or have to go to the vet or on training courses, you have to get used to some driving. Like last year when I went to the show with Sansa, she got 10 all the time, we had to drive 3 hours to get there and 3 hours home. And that's actually a short or a small distance. Drive from the south part of the state to the northern part of the state, it takes maybe 12 to 15 hours, and that's almost the same amount of time I use driving from here to down south. So yeah, the distance is huge. Where I'm from, I've been lucky because we always had like a good horse vet. So if my horses got sick, it was easy to like bring them to good vets. When I lived in Tromsø, I felt it was a bit worse, but it was still just a couple of hours to like a clinic for horses. I'm not sure how it is in Finnmark, who's further north, but I guess that would be difficult, and you have to like, is the horse even good enough to like drive it for hours to get to a ride to a good vet? So here's the farm. So that's the barn and the house, and you can see the mountains here. So actually up there I usually go riding in the summer.
So that was it for this time, guys. I Hope you enjoyed this first installment in this What's It Like to Be an Equestrian in Norway series. If you do have any questions along the way, I urge you to put them in the comment section, and if I get enough questions, I will do a final Q&A video about like both Norway and being an equestrian in Norway and everything. So I'll just collect questions up until the last video, which I think is the 5th, and then if there's enough questions, I'll do a Q&A at the end. So that's specifically to this series. If you are interested in learning more about Norway, I've linked a video in the description section of this video from the channel Geography Now on Norway. I think as a Norwegian, this is the video about Norway I've found that gets it right, basically. And finally, I would like to apologize for the bad quality of sound on the clips from Mylene, but we need to cut her some slack because she was filming it in the middle of a storm. And I've done my best to like increase the sound quality, and I've subtitled it for you guys, so I hope everyone got that part of the video and didn't skip it, because it's about the north of Norway and it's very special and different from the south. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave a like and a comment, we appreciate that, and also subscribe to my channel, I'd be so happy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!